All right, it's just the third time in 24 years the top team from each league in the regular season are going to meet in the World Series, and the man getting ready to call it all joins us now, David Ortiz, part of the Fox broadcast. Big Poppy, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good to see what's going on.
Nothing. I mean, this is the matchup baseball needs, right? I mean, if you're a casual sports fan and you haven't been paying a lot of attention to baseball, you get Otani against Judge, you get the Dodgers against the Mets, you get the top two payrolls in baseball. This is going to be a great World Series, isn't it?
It's gonna be unbelievable. I mean, you're talking about the top two teams in baseball. I said right now, when it comes down to payroll, when it comes down to talent, when it comes down to rivalry, when it comes down to history, when it comes down to everything. I mean, here's the match.
And you get the two big boys. You get Otani against Judge going at it. Tell us what it's like, because like being the guy. Now, there's a good supporting cast. You had good supporting cast, but you went to the World Series three times where you were the guy everybody circled and said, we can't let this guy do the job. What's the pressure like on Otani, on Judge as they go into these World Series games?
The most impressive thing about it is that both these guys have monster season. One of them is his first playoff experience, which is Otani. The other one have been in the playoff. He haven't been very successful. He basically this year started warming up, which is Judge. But they both have collaborate to face the situation that they are facing nowadays, which is being in the World Series. And it is expected to be in a very interesting World Series based on the two of them plus the whole army that they have behind, which is in the Yankee side, Soto, Giancarlo Stanton, you have Gleyber Torres, and then you go to the Dodgers and you have Mookie Betts, you have Freddie Freeman, you have Monty. I mean, this World Series, I would say this. Attention wise, it's gonna be one of the biggest of all time, uh, based on the talent that is gonna be approaching this World Series, and pitching wise, that doesn't stay behind. I mean, that go hand with hand with the offensive with the offense that both teams have. You know what I mean? I've been watching these two teams very close, and I don't even know where the money is at, Tom. Right now, to be honest with you, they look pretty similar.
Yeah, it's a tough pick, no doubt about that. You mentioned Mookie. We got to talk about Mookie because usually a town loses a guy like that, and you never love him again. We love Mookie, right? I mean, everybody in Boston wishes this guy was still here, obviously. But he was starting to hear some criticism about his postseason performance. He put it together in the NLCS. He was on an absolute tear. I think he hit 346, couple of homers, 9 RBI. What changed? You've been watching these NL games closely. What did Mookie do in that NLCS to put it all together?
Who doesn't love Mookie? I mean, Mookie is the perfect package. Mookie is the guy that you saw him grow up. I saw him grow up. He's a student of the game. He's a leader. He's a guy who he will do anything to help you win. I mean, you're talking about a guy who is a gold glove that you ask him to play in shortstop because they need your shortstop. And he be like, okay, I go there. I mean, who does that? Nobody. I remember during this playoff, Mookie uh, wasn't hitting like he normally do, which people don't understand sometimes that playoff or short series that during the season you go off or whatever in 3, 4 games, people will not really notice, but in the playoff it's different, And I remember having a conversation with Mookie about you know how we do breakdown about players' mechanic and stuff like that. And I did a breakdown on Mookie. Derek did a breakdown on Mookie, and we agreed that mechanically he was fine. He was no issues mechanically. So I holler at my boy and I tell him, hey, go out there and have fun, because that's what you do. When you are beating the opposition, is when you are having fun, where everybody see that big smile that you have, and and just go from there. Because sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves, especially during the playoff. And if you don't react as soon as possible to it, all of a sudden you playoff just your playoff number never shows up. So we basically had a conversation. And I'm not saying because of it he started hitting, but he just caught up on fire right after. He realized that yes, I'm not having fun. Let me go out there and and do what I normally do, and he haven't stopped hitting since. So I'm not surprised with a guy like Mookie doing what he's doing right now because that's what he does. I mean, he's a pure hitter. He's extremely talented. When you talk about studying the game, Mookie never stopped. So I would not be surprised if he, during this World Series, he go off just like he ended up doing during the NL Championship Division Series.
One thing I always found interesting watching playoff games and really watching you in the postseason is, there's always a guy or two. For you, it was that they'd have a nasty lefty in the bullpen that, he's sitting around waiting for your at bat in the seventh or eighth or ninth inning, right? In the regular season, you might see that guy in July and then not see him again until September. But in the playoffs, you might see him 3 times in 4 days. Did you find that gave you an advantage? Like, as the series went on, did you start? I mean, obviously in 2013, they couldn't throw a pitch to you that you wouldn't go get. But by and large, did you feel as the series went on, you started to get even more of an advantage because you were seeing these guys almost every night?
Oh yeah, I mean, I used to turn down to be more dangerous the more I see you. That's why in this short series, more likely the second time around, I always pretty much he caught my attention how he gonna react against the guy that they saw 4 or 5 days ago, and it's because that's what the big league's all about. Like the other day, when the Mets faced Jack Flaherty for the second round, he's a pitcher that has average stuff. He's also have like explosive and crazy stuff like some of the other guys. So I called it. I say the Mets was gonna make the adjustment to hit against him, and that's exactly what happened. Same thing. The Dodgers facing Manaya second time around. I know that was gonna happen. And it's because I know how hitters think. I know what hitter mentalities are, especially this ball club that had the best hitter in the game. That's why they are where they at. Playing in the playoff. Because those hitters, they know how to make adjustments. When I see you today and then I see you 4 days later, it's easier for me to make an adjustment than if I see you today and then I face you a month later or 6 weeks later. You have to. It's easy to memorize. It's like flashback of what you saw a couple of days ago. I mean, to me, that was big, and I see that on hitters, making that type of adjustment. So in short period of time, the more you face a batter, the more advantage as a batter you have. It doesn't matter, and it's because it's like you basically seeing things from one day to another. And to me, that was very important when I used to play.